Have you finished with your Christmas shopping yet? Well, I have some good news for you. MyPillow is glad to announce that their Christmas extravaganza is continuing. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98 when you use promo code Joey. And they're not going to last very long at this price. The famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. They're regularly priced at $119.98. Now, with promo code Joey, you can get them for $59.98. And the 6-piece towel set, these towels, you've heard me talk about them. They're very soft, but yet they are absorbent. Most times, you're not going to get a towel this absorbent. When you use promo code Joey, when you go to MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059, you're going to get them for just $29.98 with promo code Joey. $29.98 for a 6-piece towel set. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059. Use promo code Joey to get the very best deal on every single item, and Merry Christmas to you. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. We have additional details about the accused killer of UnitedHealthcare's CEO, Brian Thompson. 4 days before the man who allegedly shot and killed Thompson in New York City and before he was arrested in Pennsylvania, the San Francisco police recognized the alleged shooter as Luigi Mangione and reported this to the FBI, again, days before we learned about the identity of the accused. All the mysterious sightings of unusually large drones in the New Jersey, New York area are lawfully operated manned aircraft, according to National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby. Kirby yesterday basically called anyone who claims to have seen these flying vessels a nutcase. My language, not his. In alarming footage recently captured near Tucson, Arizona, a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agent documented multiple flatbed trucks hauling away dismantled sections of the steel border wall and taking it to a government auction site where it will be sold for pennies. Joe Biden is having his administration dispose of excess wall material in order to keep Donald Trump from using it to finish building the wall he started in 2016. This is just simply criminal. Speaking of criminals, the White House released a complete list of the criminals being released and sentences commuted in the final weeks of Joe Biden's administration. We have all the details for you today.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
We have been covering the reports of drones flying around the New Jersey, New York area. Or maybe I should say allegedly seeing drones flying around the New Jersey, New York area. Locals in the area are concerned with what is being described as SUV-sized drones that cannot be identified. It's taken on a life of its own, this whole story. There have been thousands of reports, yes, thousands of reports of mysterious car-sized drones flying over New Jersey and parts of New York night after night. And the Biden administration's response, well, they're basically shrugging it off. They're telling us it's probably just people mistaking drones for helicopters and airplanes. Here's the story. Since mid-November, residents, police officers, and even military installations like Picatinny Arsenal, the center of these sightings, have reported these strange drones buzzing the skies. We're talking about advanced technology. Drones with unusually long battery life, large size, and the ability to handle rough weather conditions. This isn't something that you're going to pick up at your local electronics or hobby store. And yet, at a White House briefing, John Kirby, the National Security Council spokesperson, says they can't verify any of it. He claims these sightings are just regular aircraft. Really? When multiple credible sources are saying otherwise? Here's his statement.
Now, finally, I just want to add a few comments on the reports of drone activity here on the East Coast, particularly in and around New Jersey. We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels. And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. Now, that said, we certainly take seriously the threat that can be posed by unmanned aircraft systems, which is why law enforcement and other agencies continue to support New Jersey and investigate the reports, even though they have uncovered no malicious activity or intent at this particular stage. While there is no known malicious activity occurring, the reported sightings there do, however, highlight a gap in authorities. And so we urge Congress to pass important legislation that will extend and expand existing counter-drone authorities so that we are better prepared to identify and mitigate any potential threats to airports or other critical infrastructure, and so that state and local authorities are provided all the tools that they need to respond to such threats as well.
Okay, so who do you believe? And here's where it gets even more disturbing. Representative Jeff Van Drew represents part of New Jersey, is raising alarm bells suggesting these drones might be coming from an Iranian mothership stationed off the coast. Now, the Pentagon quickly has denied this claim, but let's be real. When was the last time they were straight with us about something like this? So do you believe the thousands of people who think they've seen one of these drones, or do you believe John Kirby, who wants to poo-poo the idea, who wants to say, nah, we can't substantiate any of this? Representative Van Drew isn't backing down. He says, and I quote, "We are not being told the truth." He even released satellite images showing an Iranian vessel leaving port just days before these drone sightings started. Is it a coincidence? I don't know. Obviously, I haven't seen one. I live in South Carolina. And now it's not just Republicans who are concerned. Even Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who, of course, represents the state of New York, along with Kirsten Gillibrand, Cory Booker, Senator-elect Andy Kim, they're all demanding answers as well. They sent a letter to the FBI, DHS, and FAA asking what's being done to identify and stop these drones. Again, these aren't your typical rogue hobbyists flying a toy in the backyard. These drones have been seen near critical infrastructure, near military bases, and even reservoirs. You don't think this is a national security risk to have something in the air near these type of government facilities? Something that we can't explain, something we don't know? Let's talk about the civilian drone experts who've been tracking this as well. In a Fox News report, Haley Connolly, who's been in the drone business for over a decade, says this technology is way beyond what's commercially available. Again, the long battery life, because they're seeing them fly in a certain area for a long amount of time, the large size, and flying at higher altitudes. This isn't a hobbyist drone. This is either military-grade tech or something far more sinister. Even Brett Velikovich, a U.S. Army Special Ops veteran, believes there's more going on than the government's letting us in on. He told Fox News, quote, "My gut frankly tells me it's an adversary that's doing this. If it was military testing, the government would have shut it down by now because of the hysteria." So here's the big question. Why isn't the Biden administration taking this seriously? Why are they quick to dismiss these reports as just mistaken sightings? We've got credible witnesses, lots of them, law enforcement, military personnel, all saying that something strange is happening. Are they just clueless? Or are they covering something up? And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, because that's not me. But when you have this many reports, when you have thousands of people who think they are seeing this, maybe there's something really there. And this isn't the first time that we've seen this administration turn a blind eye to a potential national security threat. We've got a border crisis out of control. We have foreign adversaries flexing their muscles, and now mysterious drones are flying over American skies, and their answer is nothing to see here? Unbelievable. We need answers, and we need them now. And I hope that some of these members of Congress won't back down. I hope they won't just take John Kirby's word for it. Because we need to know, first of all, are they really drones? What are these things? Who's flying them? What's their purpose? Why are they near critical infrastructure and military bases? If there's a foreign adversary testing our defenses, don't you think we need to know that? If there's a national security threat, we need to deal with it. And if this administration isn't going to protect us, you can bet President Donald Trump will when he gets back in office. But that's January 20th. Think about what could happen between now and then. Look, we've seen this playbook before. The government dismisses legitimate concerns, causes conspiracy theorists, hopes that we'll just forget about it. But you know what? We won't. And particularly if these things keep showing up in the skies at night, people want to know. Whether it's Iran, China, or some other threat, we need to know. And we need to know that our government is taking it seriously and trying to give us answers rather than just pushing it off. On our text line, Kevin writes, we should not dismiss the presence of drones in the same manner that we might overlook the hot air balloon that traversed the United States. There are significant issues at play within our government and administration that warrant our concern. And you're right, Kevin. Appreciate your text. You can text me. You can email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Wouldn't you love to know what this is? I mean, are you concerned wherever you live? And again, if there weren't so many of these sightings, you might think, well, just somebody kind of mistaken. But there are reports of thousands. You tell me. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. If you've been putting off a visit to PhD Weight Loss, now's your time because it comes with an amazing free gift. Joey Hudson here. During December, the founder of PhD Weight Loss, Dr. Ashley Lucas, is giving the first 100 people to sign up for a consultation a free weight loss and energy supplement bundle. What a great gift. Do what I did. Take control now before heading into the indulgent holiday season. Get a grasp and avoid the holiday pounds. I dropped over 30 pounds, and I'm not worried about parties and overeating because my PhD coach taught me coping mechanisms to help me enjoy holiday events without gaining the weight. Best of all, I never took a weight loss drug. I'm not dependent on a prescription. And I was never hungry. PhD weight loss is not about depriving yourself. Lose the awful belly fat, gain energy, and avoid weight-related health issues. You will feel so amazing about yourself and truly enjoy the holiday season. PhD weight loss. Ask about the free gift when you book your consultation. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900 or go to myphdweightloss.com. Let me warn you up front, if you don't want your blood pressure to go up and get really angry at Joe Biden, you may want to skip this segment. Better yet, you probably need to stick around. You need to hear this. Another blatant example of the Biden administration pulling out all the stops to undermine President-elect Donald Trump and his incoming administration. This time, they're quietly hauling away border wall materials that we've already paid for. Your tax dollar, my tax dollar, have paid for these materials, and they're taking them to an auction site, an online auction site, and they're going to be auctioned off pennies on the dollar. Our government is essentially scrapping the security we desperately need along the U.S.-Mexico border. You're not going to believe this. In alarming footage recently captured near Tucson, Arizona, a U.S. citizen and Border Patrol agent documented multiple flatbed trucks hauling away dismantled sections of the steel border wall. Now, you may remember that when Joe Biden took office, the first thing he did the first day, very proudly signed executive orders that stopped the construction of the border wall. These materials, which were meant to protect our nation, are now being removed at an estimated half mile per day. And their goal, according to this Custom and Border Patrol agent, to clear everything out before Christmas. Get rid of it. Where are these materials going? Well, they're being shipped to Pinell Air Park in Marana, Arizona, where they're being auctioned off through GovPlanet, which is an online military surplus auction site. And get this, the bidding starts on a section of this wall at just $5. Parts of a $300 million taxpayer-funded wall are being sold for pennies on the dollar. This is beyond wasteful. This is deliberate sabotage. Now, earlier this week, I had Congressman William Timmons from the 4th District of South Carolina on with me, and I asked him about this because I had heard reports that sections of this wall that had been just when Biden ordered the construction to stop, we were told that large sections of this metal wall were just lying out in fields, literally rusting. I later heard recently that they were being auctioned off, just as this report describes. I asked Congressman Timmons about it. Congressman Timmons confirmed that, yes, there were just piles of metal walls along the border. He said that in his 7 trips or so that he had seen these. He'd taken pictures of them. He was not aware, though, that they were being sold very cheap. We know exactly why Joe Biden's administration is doing this. This is all part of a ploy to make it harder for President Trump to fulfill his promise to secure the border. Trump's made it crystal clear that once he takes office in January, border security is his number one priority. Day one, he's going to start his plan. He plans to resume construction of the wall and launch a mass deportation effort to clean up the chaos that Biden's open border policies have caused. Now, why would the Biden administration even consider this? It's their money, too. You got to assume that people in the Biden administration, they pay taxes just like we do. So it's like they're giving their money away as well. The Biden administration is trying to hamstring Trump before he even gets started. Rather than leaving this material where it is, knowing that Donald Trump is going to restart the building of the wall, and these are materials we've already paid for, they could get started right away, very quickly. They're clearing out materials now so that when Trump goes back into the White House, he'll have to fight for funding, fight for materials, have this built all over again. It is sickening. Let's not forget, this crisis at the border is one of Biden's own making. When he took office in 2021, he immediately halted construction of the border wall. He rolled back Trump's successful immigration policy. What do we get in return? A massive surge of illegal immigrants, drug trafficking, and human smuggling. Millions of them. We've seen record numbers of illegal crossings. We've seen dangerous criminals. We've seen fentanyl pour into our communities. And now we're watching taxpayer-funded wall materials being sold off to the highest bidder instead of being used to protect Americans. This isn't just bad policy. This is deliberate. This is political sabotage designed to make it as difficult as possible for Trump to secure our border once again. Some lawmakers are already calling out this insanity. Arizona Congressman Eli Crane put it perfectly when he said the Biden administration is well aware they shouldn't have reversed the construction of the border wall. If they're purposely hamstringing an incoming president, it wouldn't be shocking to me. I mean, people know that they do this and aren't even surprised about it. And he's right. The left can't stand the idea of Trump succeeding with policies that work, especially policies they've spent years undermining. Now President-elect Trump is ready to get tough on border security again. He spent $15 billion during his first term building 450 miles of border wall and had another 250 miles planned. Now, thanks to Biden's reckless agenda, we're back at square one. Trump's vision is clear. Build a tall, powerful, beautiful wall and launch a mass deportation effort to remove criminals who've exploited our open borders. And you can bet your bottom dollar Trump won't let Biden's last-minute antics stop him from securing our border. I mean, let's step back. Look at what this tells us about the Biden administration, something that we already know, but it reminds us of. Instead of protecting Americans, they're more concerned about political gamesmanship. They're willing to dismantle our security, waste taxpayers' dollars, and create chaos just to make life harder for Donald Trump and the millions of Americans who support his agenda, you and me. This is what the deep state does, folks. They play dirty. They know that Trump's policies work, and they can't stand to see him succeed. On the MyPillow message line, Ray says we can't blame Joe Biden for this.
Good morning, Joey. It's Ray from Seneca. I can't hold it any longer. I'm so tired of hearing all of the news media stuff about what Joe Biden's doing. The latest thing was he's selling off the last of the border wall materials before Christmas so that Trump can't have them. When are people going to wake up and realize Joe Biden doesn't know what day of the week it is? This is Barack Obama and all of the cronies that have been working this puppet in the White House for the last 4 years. But it's not Joe Biden. He's not smart enough to figure this stuff out. Anyway, good luck, America. Here we come. Goodbye.
You know, Ray probably has a point. Joe Biden probably isn't capable of doing this. It's someone within his administration. Your comments are welcome on the MyPillow message line as well. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Always use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow.com and place your order. Get the My Slippers in the Christmas extravaganza. Regularly $119.98, only $59.98 when you use promo code Joey at MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4059. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, you know, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. Look, I know you're probably tired of hearing us talk about Joe Biden, but there's just so much crap that he is doing in these final weeks of his administration. Of course, the big news this past week has been the pardons that he and the clemency that he's offering. Joe Biden set a new record this week. In a single day, he granted clemency to a staggering nearly 1,500 people and issued 39 pardons. Now, you might be asking, well, what's going on here? Well, let me tell you. It's no coincidence that all this comes on the heels of Biden's highly controversial pardon of his son, Hunter. Biden's move to pardon his son after repeatedly saying he would not do so is a decision that has outraged Americans across the country. And it was seen as a slap in the face to principles of equal justice under the law. After that decision sparked backlash, it seems that the White House decided to go into damage control by announcing these massive clemency actions. And let's be clear, the timing here is no accident. Now, what are we looking at? 39 pardons for so-called non-violent offenders and nearly 1,500 commutations for individuals serving what Biden claims as unfairly long sentences that he says would be shorter under today's laws. Well, that wasn't the sentence when they broke the law and they were convicted, Mr. President. Many of these cases involve drug crimes, while some of these individuals were said to have been productive members of the community since before their convictions. And you have to ask, well, is this really about justice or is it about politics? Biden's trying to leave office with a last-minute flurry of pardons, hoping to shore up his progressive credentials. He's talking about second chances and rehabilitation, but make no mistake, this is about deflection. This is about trying to get our attention off of the fact that he pardoned his own son, which many Democrats are uneasy about. They're not quite sure about it. Biden needed to change the narratives. So what does he do? He issues pardons and offers clemency to 1,500 plus others. And let's not lose sight of the bigger picture here. The pardon of Hunter Biden, yes, it was a disgrace, plain and simple. The president's own son, a man whose troubles with drugs, questionable business dealings that we don't know the half of, and tax issues, they've been widely reported. He got a get-out-of-jail-free card, courtesy of his dad. It's just that simple. Meanwhile, everyday Americans who face legal trouble, they don't have that luxury. And let's not forget, Hunter Biden's legal issues didn't just pop up out of nowhere. These are allegations that go way beyond minor drug offenses, and we're not even talking about the ones of him dealing with foreign entities. But the White House wants you to believe that this is all about compassion and fairness. Joe just has a soft heart. He wants to be fair to these people. They want you to believe that Biden is simply righting wrongs in our justice system. Yet, isn't it convenient that this record-breaking clemency spree happened right after the Hunter scandal, right after Joe got pushed back from his own party on pardoning his son, again after repeatedly saying he'd never do it, and after his White House staff kept saying he would never do it, and then suddenly it wasn't fair. His little boy, Hunter, wasn't treated fairly. It was all political. And if his dad hadn't been president, he would not have been charged. Well, yes, he would have been. He didn't pay his taxes. He broke our laws. So, yes. In fact, he probably would have been tried and sentenced and in jail much sooner than he was. We know that he got special treatment because of his dad. But he wasn't being singled out by a justice system. The White House says that all 39 pardons went to non-violent offenders. Here's the kicker. They didn't give us much detail about those non-drug-related offenses. Why not? Why don't they want us to know it? Make it easy for us. This should be all about transparency and fairness. Why the secrecy? And for the nearly 1,500 commutations, Biden's rationale is that their sentences are outdated. They were all under home confinement during the pandemic. They had been, in some cases, they had been incarcerated because it was safer during the pandemic, or at least they thought so, to have them at home. They sent them home. And now suddenly they're sorry. They express their remorse for breaking the law. Here's my question. What kind of vetting was done? Are we sure that none of these individuals pose a risk to their communities? And what message does this send to law enforcement and victims of crime? There's no way that you could do the proper vetting on 1,500 people this quickly. Unless, of course, Joe Biden has been planning this for months and his staff has been researching these 1,500. And maybe that means he was planning to pardon Hunter for all these months too, when he was telling us that he wouldn't. This isn't about justice. It's not about being fair. It's not about having a heart for doing good to other people. It's about political theater. This is Joe Biden's way of saying, see, I'm not just protecting my own son, I'm helping thousands of people. I don't think Americans are buying it, though, do you? We see the double standard. We see how the politically connected get special treatment while the rest of us are left to fend for ourselves. And let me tell you, this isn't the first time that Joe Biden has pulled this stunt. He's been issuing pardons and commutations throughout his presidency, especially for drug offenses. He believes that drug dealers should not be in jail, that drug offenses shouldn't warrant incarceration. This is part of his administration's push to appear progressive and compassionate. But at the end of the day, it's all about optics and covering up for the damage caused by Hunter Biden's pardon. Joe knows it. He's trying to protect his legacy now. Good luck with that. Biden says he's going to continue reviewing clemency petitions and taking more action before he leaves office. So buckle up, because we're going to see more of this these last-minute moves designed to cement his legacy and distract from the failures of his presidency. Here's the good news, though. We know who's going to be moving into the Oval Office in a few weeks. We know that Donald Trump's going to take the reins, and you can bet he'll be putting an end to these politically motivated charades. We need a justice system that is fair and equal for everybody, to all of us. Not one that plays favorites and hands out special deals to the politically connected. You know, we all have stories of wishing we had done something in the past that we didn't do. That piece of property that you could have bought years ago, or that house that you could have bought for a great deal. Now, what about Apple computer stock? Yesterday was the anniversary of Apple's IPO. They went public December the 12th, 1980. That's when Apple was a young company. And if you were one of the savvy American investors who put just $1,000 into Apple stock, man, you would have done well. That investment would be worth nearly $2.5 million now. $2.5 million. Apple stock hit a new all-time high this week. It reached $250.42 a share. That's a record close. The company's market cap is now a jaw-dropping $3.74 trillion. $3.74 trillion. It's the highest of any publicly traded company in the world. And this all happened right as Apple marks its 44th anniversary since that initial public offering. Talk about a long road to success. When Apple went public back in 1980, shares were priced at just $22 a piece. And look, it was considered a somewhat risky investment. You didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know the success. Now, over the years, the company has split 5 times. Their stock has split 5 different times. 3 2-for-1 splits, a 7-for-1 split, and a 4-for-1 split, according to the Wall Street Journal. Put it all together, and that $22 share is now equivalent to just 0.10%. 0.10% of a share. If you had invested just $1,000 back then, you'd have bought 45 shares. After all these stock splits, that turns into 10,080 shares today. If you go back and do the math. I didn't do it. Wall Street Journal told me this. That was a lot of you had to have a lot of historical data to do that. With Apple closing at $247.96 yesterday, that original $1,000 investment, again, worth $2.5 million. And that's without reinvesting dividends, which Apple has been paying dividends since 2012. So it's really, you would have had a return larger than that. This is one of those stories where you say, well, maybe I should have bought a few shares. Or in this case, if I just bought 1,000. Hey, $1,000 is a lot of money in 1980. But isn't this the American dream? Apple started as a garage operation founded by 2 young guys, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak. They had a vision. Through hard work, innovation, good old American ingenuity, it's grown into the world's most valuable company. It's a testament to what the free market can do. You can thrive. You can innovate. And this is the kind of success story we need to be celebrating. But instead, you've got politicians, bureaucrats in Washington who want to regulate and tax companies like Apple into oblivion. Instead of supporting innovation, they're busy pushing policies that stifle growth and kill opportunity. This is another big thing that Donald Trump's going to do. He's going to get back in there and eliminate some of the regulation that Joe Biden has added to our companies. Hey, are you interested in buying some Apple stock today? Because in another 40 years, we'll probably be having the same conversation. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, They treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse. They're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself, if you're looking for a new appliance, to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. Trump 2.0 moving back to Washington. We're back to seeing some of the, quote, tolerant left showing their true colors as we brace for the second Trump administration. Donald Trump just been named Time's 2024 Person of the Year. What a ride he's had, huh? No surprise there. Love him or hate him, Trump's back, and he's ready to get this country back on track. But instead of focusing on unity or respecting the Democrat process, some D.C. restaurant workers are gearing up for a new round of petty resistance. I mean, it's like deja vu from 2016 all over again. Here's the story. According to reports, some bartenders, servers, restaurant staff in the D.C. area are planning to refuse service or create subtle inconveniences for members of the new Trump administration when they dine out. They're talking about giving bad tables, delaying orders, or just outright refusing to serve officials they disagree with politically. Listen to this quote from a fine dining bartender named Nancy. Quote, "This person theoretically has the power to take away your rights, but I have the power to make you wait 20 minutes to get your entree." Really? This is their resistance? Slow service at a restaurant? The left has gone from marching in the streets to messing with your appetizer. It's almost comical. Another server, Suzanne Van Roy, vowed that she would refuse to serve Trump officials if their views clashed with her own. She said, quote, "It's not, oh, we hate Republicans. It's that this person has moral convictions that are strongly opposed to mine." Yeah, sure. I mean, this is just another excuse for blatant political bias. And get this, an anonymous host even admitted to planning to research Trump officials online so she can seat them at bad tables and make them wait long periods of time. Imagine the outrage if conservative waitstaff started doing this to Democrats. The media would would lose their collective mind. They would just go bonkers. But when progressives do it, it's just taking their power back. It's just that's their right as an American. Now, we all remember what happened during Trump's first term. You remember some of the stories? It wasn't just rude service or bad tables. It was a full-on harassment. Remember when Sarah Huckabee Sanders was kicked out of a Virginia restaurant with her family? Or when Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen was chased out of a D.C. Mexican restaurant? You remember that? And let's not forget Senator Ted Cruz and his wife being heckled until they had to leave their dinner at a Washington, D.C. restaurant. And who was cheering this on back then? Yes, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, who encouraged her supporters to confront Trump officials and make sure they couldn't appear in public without being harassed. Thankfully, she backed off, probably realizing just how unhinged that sounded. Double standards and the tolerant left. Let's face it, if conservatives dared to pull a stunt like this, the left would be calling it fascism or hate. But when progressives do it, well, it's okay. It's just standing up for your convictions. It's just demonstrating your freedoms, your freedom of speech. I mean, the hypocrisy is staggering, isn't it? And here's the point. Not everyone in D.C.'s restaurant scene is on board with this nonsense, though. One bartender who identified himself as Joseph said he's actually looking forward to more Republicans in town. Why? Because they tip better. He said Republicans tip around 30%, while Democrats, less than 20%, if at all. Go figure that, other than Democrats are a bunch of cheapskates. So here's the deal. The left can try their little acts of resistance, if you want to call it that, but they're not going to stop Trump. They're not going to stop the Trump administration. The American people have spoken. They want strong leadership. They want secure borders. And they want an end to the chaos of the past 4 years. And all the members, the dedicated, hardworking men and women who will be soon joining the Trump administration, they're ready to deliver. I know a lot of them. And they won't care if a waitress delays them or gives them a bad table, they're going to get their job done. As for these restaurant workers, they might want to remember that their job is to serve customers, not lecture them. If they want to make political statements, maybe they should find a different line of work. Because at the end of the day, Americans are sick and tired of the division, and they just want to enjoy a meal without politics on the side, right? And speaking of Trump, this next one is kind of turning heads, especially if you remember the feuds and the fireworks from the early days between Donald Trump and Jeff Bezos, the Amazon owner, the Amazon billionaire. Seems like even the biggest critics of Donald Trump are realizing the winds of change are blowing through Washington, and they'd better get on board. Jeff Bezos is reportedly going to give $1 million to President-elect's inaugural fund. And they're also, Amazon is going to stream the entire inauguration on Prime Video, which is probably worth another $1 million of in-kind donation. That's about $2 million worth of support for Donald Trump when Bezos, not too long ago, didn't even like the guy. So why is this happening? It's pretty simple. Bezos, like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk, three of the most powerful tech leaders in the world, they're making moves to get closer to the Trump administration because they know they need him and he needs them to get things accomplished. Musk, of course, been a very vocal supporter of Trump. He dropped $250 million into pro-Trump causes during the campaign. Now he's going to be head of the newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, alongside Vivek Ramaswamy. And it looks like Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook not going to sit on the sidelines either. He's set to pitch in about $1 million for the inauguration as well. That's a pretty clear signal that these tech leaders see the writing on the wall, that Donald Trump's back. And if they want to be on the right side of history, they better align themselves with the Trump administration. And let's not forget, the relationship between Donald Trump and Jeff Bezos, it has not been friendly. Remember how Trump used to slam Bezos in the Washington Post for their biased coverage? At one point, Trump even called out Amazon for avoiding taxes, saying if they ever had to pay their fair share, their stock would crumble like a paper bag. Bezos wasn't happy when he said that. And when the Department of Defense gave a cloud computing contract to Microsoft instead of Amazon back in 2019, Bezos blamed Trump for influencing the decision. But here we are, 4 years later. Bezos is making amends, reaching out and cutting checks for the Trump inauguration because he knows that Trump means business. Trump's focused on getting Americans back to work, making good money, loving their jobs. Bezos and the other tech titans are finally realizing that a strong America is good for their business. And yes, they're lined up. In a recent interview with CNBC, President-elect Trump laid it out clearly. We want great jobs, fantastic salaries. We want people to love getting up in the morning and going to work. We want them working, and we want them working for a lot of money, he said. That's the America First agenda. It's about jobs, growth, and making this country the best place on earth to live and to work. Bezos, Musk, Zuckerberg, they know that if they want to keep their business thriving, they need to get behind the pro-growth, pro-America policies of Trump champions. And look, it's not just about the money. After the assassination attempt on Trump back in the summer, Bezos took to social media to say Trump showed tremendous grace and courage. He even congratulated Trump after the election. Maybe, just maybe, seeing a shift here, a realization that Trump isn't the enemy of success. He's the guy who wants everyone to succeed, not just the rich guys. From the smallest business to the owner of the biggest business and CEOs in between. Bottom line, even the most vocal critics of Trump are starting to come around. It's like there's a new air about the whole thing. Have you noticed that? Everybody's optimistic. We're hopeful for the future. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at MyPillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.